Hello, on the Daily Family. Welcome to the show. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about our conscious mind. This is part 2 of our series called Rewiring. I'm going to be doing this rewiring series all month long in August. And so if you haven't heard part 1, definitely go back and listen to part 1 after you hear this episode. I'm going to be going through the rewiring process of rewiring limiting beliefs in the subconscious mind and talking all about the difference between the conscious and the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind, and how to navigate through that, how to change your beliefs, how to fix your patterns, all the things. We're going deep. And in this episode, we're talking all about the conscious mind, or your frontal cortex. So get ready. Here we go. Hey, friend. Welcome to On the Daily. I'm your host, Danielle McCleary, and I am a quantum business coach. I'm the host of this podcast. I'm a multi-six-figure entrepreneur, co-founder and president of Hype You Media, and CEO of Danielle on the Daily Coaching. What I'm really interested in is helping you live a life and have a business that is a full body yes. So through all of my education and all of my experience, I'm bringing you 2 episodes a week where I will guide you and give you the tools necessary to scale a massive, sustainable, and sexy business using your intuition, wealth energetics, and human design. What we can call it is business biohacking. So if you're down for that, then I say let's frickin' go. I'm so glad you're here. Before I get into that, I just have to share another show on our Hype You Media Network. My friends Sandy and Wade, you've heard me talk about them before. They're amazing, and they are the hosts of the Getting Magnetic podcast. They are definitely the type of people you want in your life. I swear every time I see them on social media or listen to their podcast, I always just feel better. And I think those people are like sunshine, and we got to keep them close. So in their podcast, Getting Magnetic, they talk business, they talk love, they talk life, they talk all about relationships. They talk about everything. And their energy is super contagious, and you just are going to want to be near them. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Go ahead and listen to it, and let me know what you think. All right, let's get into this episode. The conscious mind. So obviously in part 1, we discussed the subconscious mind, which is controlling 95% of our daily actions and thoughts. Now, the conscious mind, that means that the conscious mind only controls 5% of our daily actions, thoughts, and behaviors. And that's because its sole purpose is to take commands and implement them. So the subconscious mind, it stores your behaviors, it stores your patterns, it stores your beliefs. The conscious mind is only thinking about thoughts, memories, feelings, wishes, things that you want to be aware of in the given moment. It is responsible for what we are actively thinking about, right? So the subconscious mind is what we've learned through stored data and what we've stored in our brain through our reticular activating system, which is what I will be discussing in part 3. And then the conscious mind can really only process what's happening in the moment. So a really good example of that is if you're getting up and you're going to make breakfast in the morning, right? Obviously, you're consciously thinking, you're reading the ingredients, you're reading the recipe, you're like, oh, okay, that's what I need. But as far as getting your way around, like knowing your way around the kitchen, knowing how to open the fridge, like knowing how to crack an egg, knowing how to cook on the stove, you're not consciously thinking about a lot of that, because that information, those behaviors, those patterns are stored in your subconscious mind. What you are consciously thinking about in that moment is how to read, how to follow directions, and how to efficiently make a good breakfast. So that's kind of how the subconscious and the conscious mind work together. But as you can see, the conscious mind is not remembering information the same way that your subconscious mind does. Another good way to think about it is your conscious mind sleeps with you. So when you wind down and you go to sleep at night, your conscious mind kind of quote, goes to sleep with you, where your subconscious mind is never asleep. Your subconscious mind is always programming. It's always learning new things. It's always storing information so that you can go about your day. Because if you think about it, right? And the reason why the conscious and the subconscious mind have this relationship, because if you think about how many things and actions you do throughout the day. Think of how many actions you do just to get out of bed in the morning and get ready for work or get ready for school or get ready to work your business, whatever it is. Think about how many actions you take, right? From the moment you open your eyes, you have to, like, your body has to know how to open your eyes. You have to get out of bed. You have to move the covers. You have to put your feet on the floor. You have to take steps. You have to feel the ground beneath you. You have to figure out maybe stairs in your, wherever you live. You have to brush your teeth. You have to get dressed. Like, you have to do your business in the morning, right? There's so many things, actions that you do. And if you had to consciously be aware of those things every single day, you would be constantly overwhelmed, because the conscious mind, it gets overwhelmed very easily, which is why the subconscious mind is there to be like, don't worry, I got this. But that's why when we're like, let's say we're stuck in a pattern of, like, if you're stuck in a pattern of like, you make a lot of money and then you spend a lot of money and then you end up at rock bottom. This is an example of, in the moment when you spend all of your money that you made, your conscious brain is like, ugh, this sucks. Like, I don't want to live like this anymore. Well, your subconscious mind has memorized that pattern of behavior because of how many times it's happened in the past. So it doesn't really matter what your conscious brain wants, because if your subconscious mind is programmed a certain way, that's what's going to stick. Right. So it's the same reason why, if you're like, oh, I need to remember, like, if you have a routine every morning and then maybe you're on antibiotics and you're like, oh, I need to remember to take my antibiotics in the morning. Well, your subconscious mind has already memorized your evening routine, or your morning routine rather. It's already memorized it. And so the act of putting something else in, that's not stored in your subconscious mind, which means that you might forget. If you're like me, you forget to do stuff like that all the time. If something's not in my routine, I will forget. So setting an alarm, if you do it every day, it becomes easier to wake up because your subconscious has programmed it. If you're going on vacation and you need to book it to your flight and you need to set an alarm and it's a unique experience, you have to set an alarm for yourself, because consciously your body is not thinking of that. Consciously your mind is not thinking of that. That's just because your conscious mind cannot take in the same information. So it's not enough to consciously be aware of our limiting beliefs or consciously be aware of the patterns that we're stuck in, because just being aware of it consciously is not going to affect how we act on it subconsciously. So think like conscious mind responsible for current thoughts and current worries and current feelings. Your subconscious mind is responsible for actions and behaviors and patterns. So I hope that helps. And like I said, in this next episode, we are going to be going into the RAS, which is your reticular activating system, which kind of acts as like the gatekeeper between what goes into your subconscious mind and what stays in your conscious mind. And I'm going to start to introduce how the RAS is so important when it comes to your manifestations, when it comes to ending cycles of shame, guilt, fear, scarcity. So it's going to start to get good. We've kind of gotten through the first like intro episodes. Now we're really going to start to dive into this like rewiring process. Before I let you go though, I have to tell you that my mini mastermind starts today. It's called I Am That Bitch. And it is really discussing a lot of what we're going to talk about this month. And that's why I'm doing this series this month, because I want people who are in there to be able to listen to the podcast as well. And it's going to really pair nicely together. So you listen to the podcast every week, you're able to come onto these live calls in this mastermind and talk with other people and kind of, really actually put what I'm teaching in this series to practice. And so I can't recommend it enough. You can still join us. Even if you miss the first call, it is recorded and we have a Voxer chat as well. So you will be fine. I would love to have you in there with us. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes, and there are payment plans. The cost is $808. And like I said, you can pay in full, you can pay in 2 payments, you can pay in 3 payments. We've got lots of options and we would love to have you in there. I also just started offering PayPal credit. I offer Klarna. I offer Apple Pay. There's a lot more ways that you can work with me and ways in which you can pay to work with me now. So if a container has been something you've wanted to jump into and you're stuck in a lot of like patterns of limiting beliefs and toxic cycles, then this mastermind will be a really great space for you. So with that, I will see you back here on Friday with another episode, part 3 of our rewiring series called The Raz. Bye.